are, I can say you're a 400-meter specialist. You know, you've been in the business for the longest time. What do you think is going on with our 400-meter program? Do you
Well,
think
I
it's
know I'm a 400-meter specialist.
Well, hey, I saw you running down medalists. I saw you winning medal. You're a world champion in event. You have done.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I started running the 400, my first track event, when I started track at 14. Everybody else, like Fred Curley, they start running the 400 when they got to college, or some of them start running when they're a senior in high school. I've been running 400. I run more 400 than probably anybody ever. So, I wish I had another event.
So what do you think is going on with our 400-meter program? Because we are looking, the guys have the semifinal in a few hours.
Yes.
We see where it appears that they are struggling. You are a KC guy. Akeem Bloomfield is a KC guy. I'm sure you reach out to him from time to time. What do you think is going on? Because when I look at the times that these guys are running, they're running faster time than us, yet we are more successful than them in every area. What is going on? What do you think?
Well, the thing that we both had, your coaches were older, right? At George Mason and afterwards with Michael Johnson's coach Hart, who have 50 years experience. My coach at Auburn, Coach Pry, had a lot of experience, and his assistant, Coach Rosen, Coach Rosen been coaching the U.S. team since the 70s. He had 50 plus years experience. So we were with people, not only were they our coaches, but they might have been our mentors, like you said, a support group. So we had people that could give us genuine feedback. Coach Rosen, 1980, 1976, 1984, 1988, 1992 Olympics, he was there. So when he came to me and tell me, Davian, this is what you need to do, and you need to be ready on August 28th. I didn't worry September 28th if I wasn't in shape, because I understand that it's about peaking at the right time. And so what's going on with our athletes is they're running fast, but they're not peaking at the right time. Their focus is all off. They think that they can open up with 44.2 or 44.8 and run 44.8 all year long, or run faster. And they don't think that there's going to be a limit. And then some of them train the whole time, don't race, and then open up and expect a fast times, which me and there's no way you can be an athlete that going to train all year and your first race going to be a world record or super fast. It can be, but it's not your first race. That means that's your first public race, but you might have set up a meet prep where you had electronic timing, you ran it in the stadium, and coach had people pacing you. And so you run a couple of those, like five weekends during the year. So when you're officially open to the public, it looks like that's your first race, but you were ready. I know Alan Johnson, hurdler from the US. Every year before he went to Europe indoors, he'd run 2 races at North Carolina to see where he was. And so our athletes need to have a strategy. They need to know, hey, am I going to run 10 races this year? Am I going to run 20 races? What's the plan?
I was very good at that, Davian. That was one of my strengths. I usually come out and people think, oh, he's running his first race, and I would run 44s, and then you think I would be dead the next few weeks, but I used to pace myself the right way.
Yes.
Because, I had the knowledge. I knew that it is knowledge that would make me better. And I didn't have all the knowledge. I was a seeker of knowledge.
Yes.
But I too find that even some of these younger guys with the talent, the Bloomfield, the Nathan Allen, and you know them because you interact with them. I even try to reach out to them out of concern, because I realize that they lack the knowledge and they lack a certain type of leadership that would help them to garner or harness the potential and develop it. But I find that they just are not open to accepting any form of information from any outside group. I remember, I was at a meet once and I ended up beating Bush Reynolds. And at the end of the race, I went over to him and I was asking him, hey, Mr. Reynolds, could you give me some advice? And he was looking at me like I'm crazy, like, you just beat me in this race. How can you come to me and ask me for for advice.
Yes.
That was the type of spirit that I had.
Yes.
I wanted to genuinely learn, and I felt like I was willing to learn from the people who were there, been there, and done that. You're a KC man. Here's my question. You're a KC man. I did an interview a few weeks ago, and the gentleman said that KC seemed not to develop their athletes so they can transition into the professional level. You're a KC man. You are one of the few who transition to the next level and stayed there. How were you able to do it, and what made you different than what is going on, so to speak?
Well, yes, no, at the end of the day, is like we said, it's not the country's, even though you think it's the country's responsibility, it's not Kingston College responsibility. It's none of the other ISA schools' responsibility to help you to become a professional. You have to decide if you want to become a professional. When I was at KC, I watched the Olympics, but I didn't think I would ever run at the Olympics before I was 30 years old. I thought it would take time for me to develop. The athlete, if they want to be professional, they have to have that mindset. And like you said, they have to seek knowledge. I have a coach when I was in high school. I have a coach when I was in college. But the truth is, I learned how to run the 400 from talking to Bert Cameron and Grace Jackson. And both of them gave me a less than 1 minute information about what I need to do. And when I executed it just the way they told me, it worked out. And me and you, we have talked about this. We're not going to tell you guys on the air how to run the 400 because that's $1 million question. But me and Greg talked about the execution, and he went out there, Pan Am Games, 1999, executed a perfect race and almost ran his PR and break the Jamaica record. Run 44, 56 or 54. I can't remember what you ran. But yeah, but the knowledge is there. If they just talk to the right person, I don't have to coach them. You don't have to coach these athletes. If they just reach out and talk to us, we will genuinely give them the data that they need. Because I've seen all of them run, and even the US athletes, and not one of them know how to run a 400. Not one of them have executed a 400. Even though they're running 43, none of them have executed the 400 correctly.
You know what I find, Davian? There is a certain level of fear, a high degree of fear with coaches in Jamaica, where they are afraid for their athletes to have any discussion with people outside of what they know. And the thing that in some ways it used to bother me at first was that if they want to learn and we were open to give them information, and we were the best crop from 1993 up until now, Davian, you, myself, Danny McFarlane, Donald, Michael Blackwood, we were the best. You can go back into the history books and look. We were at almost every finals, Olympics, and World Championship. We've been winning medals, Davian, from 1995 straight up until I retired 2004. Every year we made the World Championship or the Olympic finals. We created history together. And I don't understand why. Even I know you said that it's not ISA responsibility and it is not J2A or the JOA responsibility. But don't you think too that they should see the need to want to use athletes who've been there and done that to pass on the information to the younger crop, whether it is through seminars and workshops or webinar, because we have information that can help the 50 years that you're talking about that your coach had. If he dies, that's 50 years of information that just go down the drain if nobody have access to it. So why not get the information while we are living and to use the information to help those who are struggling? Because we don't have a problem sharing some of the information with the coaches. We don't. So, well,
there's a lot of knowledge out there. And there's a lot of different ways to do it. But like you said, if people talk to us and we give them information, they can try it. And then that's how you'll know if it don't work for you. You know, you talk about, I always use different techniques almost every race. And I change it up not because I didn't like how I was performing, but I changed it because I was seeking to run 43. So I was never satisfied with my performance because my goal was higher. If you look at my YouTube thing right now, it's a D Clarke 4398. My goal was always to run 43.98, and so that was my execution plan, trying to figure out how to get it right. I never was able to achieve that, but that was, you shoot for the stars, you miss the stars, you hit the moon. And so, we won 9 international medal, world championships, and Olympics, all heap of Pan Am games, and our records are still there as a testament to how we were able to unite. And one of the things I see with the Jamaica team, I saw it in the mixed relays, and we don't have access to them, so we're going to talk about it right now. Those handoffs, nobody was moving. It's like statues out there when they was doing that handoff. I don't know what they're doing in their camp over there. I'm not going to criticize them, but we can talk about what we used to do. And you know that we go to practice. It doesn't matter if you had practice at 5 and somebody else have practice at 6. We just say, listen, everybody's going to practice the same time. We're going to bring the baton and we're going to work on the handoff. I came to the group and said, well, I want to do my University of Miami handoff. And then we decided to use the same technique like the Oklahoma team with Danny McFarlane and Roxburgh, use their handoff, and Baylor uses, because we decided that was the one that was going to get our time down. And I think we have lost that. Nobody, the execution of a relay, nobody's executing the relay. They're just going out there running as individuals. And that's why they're not going to have the success. It doesn't matter how fast they are, until they learn how to execute, like you're saying, who needs to be on first, who needs to be on second, how to approach when you're going in to give the stick, or you're going to approach when you're getting out to get the stick, how you're going to approach the back stretch, what you're going to do at 200, what you're going to do with 100 meters to go, what you're going to do the first 50. Until they figure out all those things, I'm not going to have the success you want.
The unity that these guys must have, it's not there. I give you a quick story and then we move on. I remember I was overseas and I was struggling, and I called Danny McFarlane and I said, hey, Danny, I need some help because I know I'm fit.